Hi boys and girls, welcome to science. Once again this week we're continuing to talk about living and non-living things. We're also talking about what living things need. And let's go ahead and review again today. Living things, they move, need nutrients like food and water, they breathe, reproduce, and grow, just like this tree. Okay? And non-living things like this box, they don't do any of these things. Okay? So now we're going to continue our lesson that we started yesterday on Mrs. Smith's class and how they went on a field trip to a state park which had a lot of nature, a lot of natural things and living things in that state park. So just as a reminder, we're in our STEM Scopes science book. It's the one, there's 3 of them and they all have the giraffe. This is the one with the green K and the circle around it, not the yellow or the purple one, but the green one. And we're all the way on page 89. On page 89. Okay? So we're going to answer these few questions and then do some writing today. You ready? All right. Number 1. Which of the following is not a living thing? A rock, an animal, a plant, or a frog? Which one do you think is not a living thing? Remember the the rock we saw yesterday was not a living thing. Doesn't grow, need nutrients, breathe, anything that a living thing needs and does. So a rock is not, I'm going to circle that, a living thing. Alright. All of the following are non-living things except, now there's mostly non-living things except for one of them. Rocks, is that non-living? Yeah, that's non-living. Water, non-living? That's right, non-living. A duck, is that non-living? I think that's living. And dirt. Dirt is definitely non-living. So the only one that's not non-living, the one that is actually living, would be the duck. Alright, turn the page. And number 3, living things need certain things to stay alive. They need air, food, shelter, and what was it? Air, food, shelter, and soil? No, not necessarily. Water. That may be it. Let's check all the answers first. Shade. No, they don't just need shade. Or trees. No, I don't think that's it. Which one do you think it is? That's right, they need water. Okay? Now, where does Mrs. Smith take the class hiking first? Do you remember that? And the best way to find that out is to actually go back to the story and let's go all the way to the beginning. Okay, so here's a picture shows me that they're talking about where they're going to go and they voted on it. And then they voted, they chose a class trip at a state park. And right over here it says Mrs. Smith decides they should hike to the creek first. To the creek. Okay? So I see the choices here. Trail. No. Forest. Creek. Yeah, that's it. Let's just check them all. Lunch. No, it was definitely the creek. Circle C, creek. Alright, now we're going to do some writing. We're going to group these items. Okay? We're going to sort these out. So first, go ahead and write your name here at the top. Alright, you can write the date. Today is October 27th, 2020. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. 10/27/2020. Okay, or you could put 20 as well. Alright, so we're going to group the items and you can copy my writing that I do today. And let's decide what side goes in living and what side goes in non-living. Okay, this side is the living side. And this is the non-living side. Okay, so let's look at the 4 things. What would that be? That would be a tree, right? Is that living or non-living? That's right, that's living. Okay, so let's just go over them first. A book. Does that need food and water? Does it grow, reproduce? No, definitely not. It doesn't breathe. That's non-living. Okay, how about this computer? Living or non-living? Yeah, it's not alive. It doesn't breathe, grow, reproduce, things like that. And how about this bird? That's right. It does breathe, grow, reproduce, needs food and water, nutrients, things like that. So that would be living as well. So let's go ahead and put the first thing in the living side. Okay. Living, we're going to put the tree. So we'll start with the top line, pull down. We're going to do the lowercase t, and then across the midline there. And then for the second letter, for R, let's start at the midline. Let me go ahead and just zoom out a little bit. There we go. Let's start at the midline, pull down, and then go right back over here and go just like that, the lowercase r. And if you need to pause the video, you can to go ahead and catch up. Okay, and then the E starts right about here. It just goes around. E and second E. Touches the top midline, goes back to the bottom. Okay, so the tree is living. Now I went ahead and wrote tree, so I'm going to cross that out. Know that I've already used that one. Okay, what else is living? The bird, right? Okay, once again, we're going to start at the top line for a lowercase b, pull all the way down to the bottom line, and then for the other part of the b, we're going to start at the midline, around just like that, and then lowercase I, midline, dot on top, lowercase r, midline, back over there, and then a lowercase d, right about here in the midline. Start at the top line, through the midline, down to the bottom line. Now remember, the midline is kind of like the belt of a man. Remember? Let me go ahead and draw that real quick. You don't have to draw this, but just as a reminder, and I'll zoom in when I'm done. Like there's a man right here, and midline is his belt. See? Yeah, just like that. All right. So I used the bird. I'm going to cross that out. And then non-living, we just have the two left, the computer and the book. Let's do book first. Okay. Start at the top line, all the way down, and then around. And for the O's, there's two O's. Start at the midline, down to the bottom line, and back up. Remember, you can pause it if I'm going too fast. And second O, around. And for the lowercase k, start at the top line, all the way down, midline, back to the line, and then back up. Alright, and then the book. Now the computer, a little bit longer word, lowercase c, lowercase o. Okay. Pretty much staying near the midline for all these letters. And lowercase p, lowercase u. Okay, and the only difference is the lowercase t starts at the top line, down to the midline, and E and R. Alright, that's it. We've grouped the items, and you've written your name on the top and the date. And I'll go ahead and write my name just as a good example, Mr. Chaka. We've answered the questions and wrote and sorted these out, living and non-living. All right, thank you for joining me today for the lesson.